Now we're recording. Alright guys, we're going to be going over Trader Daddy with this small group of people here. So the recording will be good in the future. If anyone else in the Discord wants to use it, right, we can post it here. I have other recordings with other Discords, and you guys can just ask me any questions at any time. Terry already started her interrogation process, so she can finish it on this call. And we're gonna kind of jump in here and show you what this is and why it's awesome and how it's going to get more awesome over the coming months, because we have a bunch in development. So starting off, the first page, which is going to be your unusual options activity page, right? And the first thing you see here is your daily flows for SPY, QQQ, IWM, gold, and silver from market open. This will be going away. We will be replacing this, partly because it is not very useful. So I've just noticed that myself, is generally speaking, for every bull there is a bear. So most of the time you will see right around the 50 mark for the flows. So for now, just ignore that. Next, we come down here. We have your top traded institutional flows, so you can see kind of where the big money is going. An absurd amount of flow today into AMD. That is pretty crazy. What is that? 4,000 million? So is that turning into billion? Anyway, tons of flows on AMD, so you can see where the money is flowing in, where the money is flowing out. And then the best part of the first page, kind of the point of interest here, is going to be where you come down to the live flows itself. And you're going to see general market sentiment by premium weight, total premium for the day, and then the largest trade for the day that went through, as Terry suggested. If you want to copy this largest trade, I will add a date or some more information here so that it's easy to just go and see the strike and expiration for this. And then my recommendation personally for the flows, even though I'm not a flow user, how I recommend it to users of our platform, is you're going to go here into this filter, and you're going to click 5 million plus. And this is going to show you anything over 5 million, where the premium is over 5 million for contracts that were open. So this, at least for me personally, is the fastest and easiest way to kind of see where is big money flowing. And right away, you can see something here that's very interesting going into next week. Right, expiration next Friday. Let's do some quick math here. That is over 40 million. So we have over $40 million in call premiums opened next week for MSTR, right? That means someone's trying to do a proxy on potential Bitcoin breakout. And if we open the charts here real quick, I go on Bitcoin. I have this little wedge drawn. We can see that Bitcoin's right on the verge of a breakout, and people are definitely positioning for that with MSTR. All right, so just here you go. Take note of this for next week. If you're someone new who's thinking about signing up for the platform, you know, play number one that we are going to be exposing based on flows is, let's see where MSTR goes for next week. This is looking good, right? We do have earnings coming up, but those call expirations were for next Friday. Earnings is on the 5th of May. So let's see where this goes next week. And that is the first page. Obviously, you also see a bunch of Tesla flows, but Tesla in general has been getting a lot of premium, and it's been very bullish. I'm pretty sure I saw somebody in Pathfinders playing Tesla. So yeah, Tesla is getting a ton of flows as well. Tesla has earnings coming up soon. It is the first Mag 7 stock to report earnings. So that's going to be really interesting to kick off the earnings season, because earnings will basically dictate this rally. If earnings are good, we are going to continue rallying pretty hard. If earnings take a toll, well, maybe the rally isn't going to be as good as some people might hope. So any questions here from the chat on the first page? All right, awesome. We have a super quiet chat. Perfect. So, one thing to note here is we are more than just an options flow site, and we seek to also be a data site and expand with a bunch of cool creative content for the users, which I will get into, as well as some ideas we have for the future. So flows are the first thing we're going to be covering here, but there is more than flows that we offer. So there's three ways that you can look at flows. One is I showed you, which is the first page, the unusual activity page. The next page is we have our live flow that we track, and this is going to show you a bunch of flows. And how I personally like to use this is, again, just looking for what has an absurd amount of bullish flows. So I'm just going to change the sentiment here, bullish greater than 60%. And I'm going to scroll down and we're going to see what's super bullish. And there you go. This ticker right here, app. Actually, don't know what app is. Is it Apple Lovin' or whatever that company's called? This has a crazy amount. Yeah, crazy amount of bullish flows here. We can click into this, quickly filter, right? Put our premiums up. I did a filter 0 to 7 days, and you can see we have, I don't know who on earth bet fucking 11 million for tomorrow, but someone bet 11 million for tomorrow for a 420 call. So just out of curiosity, right, let's open app up. This doesn't look like it's gonna pop tomorrow, but apparently someone is betting on that. Just something to keep in mind. Earnings are coming up. It's forming a decent structure for potential upside continuation here, right? So if it breaks and holds 470, this can go back up to 500. And that is how I personally like to look at the flows. You can look at the individual tickers. We are missing some tickers. I had a conversation with Terry about that. We will try to add more, as well as some small ones. Right now, due to this being a pretty new site and just kind of managing costs, we're mostly focusing on large flows and transactions. So some of these smaller caps and mid caps you're not going to see in here. This is more of your larger tickers, but this will definitely be expanding. So live unusual activity, live flow, and then the third way you can quickly, easily visualize flows is if you go to flow analysis heat map, and you're going to get this glowy map that's going to show you bullish, neutral, and bearish flows. And we can visually also quickly just glance at this and see, okay, what was the most bearish thing today? And right away you see app again being highlighted, and everything else is, what else is pretty crazy? I guess 71% ARM, 77% CoreWeave, right? So this is another quick way that you can visualize this. And the idea is you just align the chart with the flows, because if both align, there's a really high chance for continuation. I'm going to show ARM because I'm actually playing ARM, and I like ARM, and I own ARM. So if you take a look at the chart, right? Very easy chart to look at. 3 days, we've been around this 160 level, and we are holding it. As long as we hold 160, this will go higher. This will at least go for a gap fill to 170, and then from there, if the market continues ripping, there's a good chance this will actually go and make all-time highs. Let me close this out. So another way how I use the flows, right? I align them with the chart. Does the chart look good to me? Do I like it? I like ARM. I think this can and should go higher. Yes, it has a crazy PE ratio, but it is also a company that all the major chip manufacturers kind of depend on. Like everyone who uses ARM's chips are dependent on it, which is half of the big tech companies in the world. So I think this is a good stock long term. And those are your 3 pages of flows. Now everything else on the site is not necessarily flow related, and it is more of helping you find breakout plays and doing technical analysis. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to showcase the ticker search, and here you can search basically any ticker, and you're going to get a bunch of information. Okay, so starting off, you can select the expiration date here, and for a particular expiration date, it is going to give you the option sentiment. So is the option market bullish, neutral, or bearish on a particular stock? This is determined by an inside algorithm calculating based on call to put volume, put to call open interest, skew, and a couple other metrics. So for this particular expiration date, which is next OPEX, so not the one that's tomorrow, but for May, we are solidly bullish on continuation for Tesla. We have an expected move of plus or minus about $40 until then. So that just shows you that Tesla can go a lot higher. We give you the call walls and put walls. So based on open interest, the resistance, and the support. Let me hit the mute button. There you go. And then we also have something called market structure, which calculates for the particular expiration date the most likely call wall and put wall, as well as the max pain. For those that don't know what max pain is, it's basically where market makers would make the most money if the option expired around that price. So what you have sometimes is you have kind of a snapback effect that can happen on stocks. When something is extremely overextended, it hits let's say a call wall, which is resistance, and then it can snap back towards the max pain point closer to expiration of OPEX. That's why you see super violent moves usually for OPEX, where something can go up a lot and then it can also go back down pretty quickly, is because there's kind of a rubber band effect and things tend to go towards max pain. Technicals, a chart, obviously you can use TradingView if you want. And then we also have, for people who sell options, an option selling scanner. It does some internal calculations, and based on the Kettlander channels, open interest, and a bunch of other data that we use, it basically tells you where you can sell covered calls or sell puts for based on the expected upside, downside targets, so on and so forth. And then you have your basic bid ask and options information. So we'll be improving this page as well. I've already gotten some feedback on it. There's a lot of improvements coming down the line. So that's your ticker search. And then next up is top plays. So this is my personal favorite page on the entire website. This is how you can easily make back the subscription cost of the actual flow platform. And what this is a custom indicator from TradingView that I have personally developed and backtested, and is actively used by around 60 to 70 other members. It's called the Trader Daddy indicator. That has been converted to Python, and this script runs every single day based on that indicator, and it's going to find breaking out stocks every day for the daily. This runs at 4:15 Eastern, so this is for your swing plays, and then this also runs on the hourly as well, 15 minutes past each market hour. And the reason I like this so much is because you don't need to go and spend time looking for breakout plays every day, right? If you're a swing trader and you don't want to stick and look at your charts for hours, you just come here and you see what's breaking out. Now, this week's probably not the best example because everything is breaking out, right? But let's say I'm just going to pull something random from here. What do we have? Let's say Ionic, and I go back here. Right, Ionic, bullish chart pulled back after hours. crazy gaps, super overextended. Actually, really good volume. This is definitely a large institutional transaction, more or less, based on just historic volume here. So you can expect this to consolidate around this price point and then shoot back up higher, right? So this is breaking out. A bunch of other things are breaking out, and like I said, just because the whole market's so bullish, maybe this isn't a perfect example today, but when you have your choppy or even red days, I've demoed this where we found the best stocks for the next day without needing to sit on TradingView and click through, your entire watch list. So if we pull up something else, let's say AMPX, just to quickly take a look. There you go. This one actually looks pretty solid for breakout to new all-time highs going into next week, right? So you're just going to align the chart with the signal and see what you like to play. Let's say we also have a bearish breakdown, so we can look at something bearish that's breaking down as an example of you're into shorts, which I don't recommend, but let's see. I don't know, let's say J and J. Would I short this? Probably not, right? So you do want to look at the chart, but could this be a distribution that goes lower? Potentially, right? So it's getting flagged by the indicator. I wouldn't short in this market right now in general, but just something to keep in mind. So that is your top plays, and these are pretty damn accurate, especially to the bullish upside. You can just come here every single day after hours and find plays for the next day that you want to play. Any questions so far? Yeah, because it's the easiest one to make money with without putting any thought into it. So like the flows, you have to look at the flows, think through the flows, look at the chart, like look for the flows, so on and so forth. This just makes it a lot simpler. And yeah, you can actually, Terry mentioned, yeah, you can click on the signals, it takes you to the screen. So if I click on like Rocket Lab, it actually shows you the chart. So you don't even need to go to TradingView. I just, do it. But the script that runs this, yeah, but this is based on a pretty complicated TradingView indicator that I've built over the years. So this is something, yeah, you're not going to just find outside. And yeah, so that's this page. We do. It's not public. We have yes, but probably not for personal use case. So we wouldn't offer that to like individual members. Members would be limited to actually using the site, but in terms of platform expansion, like business to business, yeah, later on, if we have large partners who want to use our data or pull from our site, that's the idea for the APIs. But, for obvious reasons, it's not something we would be exposing to our members. You guys would just, use the data like a regular person would, if that makes sense. Yeah. All right. So next we have the reversal finder. So the idea behind this one was for myself. I make my money through selling cash secured puts, and I am lazy and I don't like to, again, look through the market and find things that are oversold or overbought. And so what this does is it shows you potential tops or potential bottoms, and you can put in any ticker in here and it's going to tell you based on 7 different metrics. So let's say SPY. If it's overbought or oversold, we all know that on this rally, currently SPY is overbought, but you can put in any other ticker as well, and it does the calculation based on all of these. And the way I personally use it is for CSPs, so I filter for bottoms. And then I take a look here. If I like any of these, I'll go on the charts. And what's JD? For example, General Dynamics. So after today's candle, this is showing oversold. Obviously, I'm not going to play this. I don't like this stock. Yeah, this is what aerospace defense. I don't like it, but it is at the 200 moving average. It is showing some potential oversold. So generally speaking, for the bounce finder, a lot of these will see bounces, right? So it doesn't signify a long-term bottom because there's really no indicator that can perfectly signal a bottom. But this just shows you stretched metrics, and you can play bounces on these, or in my case, I play cash secured puts if it's a name I like. And when we were going down, for the past couple of weeks, this page was actually really useful because a lot of things were oversold and it would catch the bounces. And to prove to you guys that this page is not full of shit, I'm going to show you my indicator. And we're going to go in SPY here, and I'm going to hide all of this and show you that this stuff works, right? So everywhere where it says sell CSP is where you would see it triggered back on TraderDaddy. And as you can see here for SPY, it's pretty damn accurate, right? When you see these oversold levels, you generally get a bounce. You get a bounce, you get a bounce, bounce. Here, next day went lower, bounced, right? Here, you got a small bounce. Here, wasn't perfect. Went lower because no indicator is perfect. Here, you got a bounce, 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 bounce. You get the point. This is pretty damn accurate. So there's no perfect indicator, but I do like this one. This is, again, a custom indicator from TradingView converted to Python that runs on the site daily. So I check this personally, and I find this one really useful. So the heat map we have seen. Next one is sector analysis. So this one is kind of a top-down market sector analysis for people who are unaware of kind of what is going on, and it pulls other indicators in. So it actually takes a look at bonds, it looks at credit, it looks at semis, regional banks, small caps, VIX, and a couple other things that are not mentioned here. And this tells you basically the internals of the market. Are we bullish? Are we bearish? Now, people may argue with me and say we are not bullish because, the American economy is shit and so much is going on. But by every indicator of the market, we are currently bullish. And 2 weeks ago, this was actually showing strong bear because we had, bonds freaking out, the MOVE index was spiking, VIX was spiking, so on and so forth. So this is good for a lot of people who are beginners or just in general have no clue what the fuck they're doing. You come onto this page and this basically says, is it time to buy or is it time to sit in cash and sit on your ass, right? We also give you sector performance. So we have 22 sectors in here. You can do this with TradingView, or you can also do this here, and you can just kind of sort and filter like what did really good in the past week. Funny enough, software, the most beaten up sector that we have. Uranium was doing pretty good, right? You can also do daily, weekly, you can filter it. It shows you the trend, bullish, bearish, and then we give you a market rotation guide. Dan asked, what time frame is that overbought, oversold on? That's on the daily time frame. So that goes purely off the daily. Then something else we have, this is what our day traders use. So this weekend I will be adding SPX in here along with SPY, and we have QQQ, IWM, gold, silver, and TLT. So gamma gives you the market levels, and a lot of our users use this to play their 0DTs or to play futures. Basically, what you see is these massive bars, and these bars are your levels of support or resistance. You also have a flip line, which is the gamma flip line. So when we are below the gamma flip line, we are in negative gamma, which means that the market's super volatile, things are super scary, and there's a lot of selling. When you are above the gamma flip line, like we are right now, that is when you buy the dip, because it's an actual dip, and that means there's dampened volatility and things are good and the market is happy. So when we had the correction that started, what is it, 2 months back now or whatever, we flipped into negative gamma, and since then everything went to shit. So now that we are in positive gamma, things are good. And right here, the main gamma level that we have is 700. So as long as the S&P can hold 700, it will continue to go up. If it breaks 700, there is a small gamma level at around 697. This is just based on the top 4 expiration dates, but that is the level it will likely go to. As long as it's above 700, it will continue moving up higher. And right now there's really skewed positioning because there are so many calls in the market and everything's very optimistic and bullish. But in a normal market, you'd see these bars be more even in terms of position sizing, and it would kind of tell you the next level in the market that you'd look at. So as SPY breaks, let's say 700, it would go to 702, and then you're going to see gamma building up here for next week as this refreshes. So awesome page. A lot of people like this, and I'll add SPX this weekend since people trade that along with SPY QQQ. We have an earnings flow scanner, so this scans most of the earnings. Again, if it's a small cap or mid cap company with not a lot of flows and not very popular, you might not see it here. But for all of the big stuff, it's going to be in here, and it's basically going to give you the flows going into those earnings, and then the expected move for the earnings. Yes, I did see his question, Patrick. I answered it. The answer is daily. And yeah, this is just your earnings flow. So it's going to show you all the earnings are coming up with their flows and their sentiment. So really useful for if you're playing the big tech stocks or just big stocks in general, because they get a lot of flows and positioning into earnings, and you can come here and see that. Next, we have 7 screeners. I am not going into all 7 of them because that takes too long. But basically, depending on what you like, we have a screener for you that you can click on and find various plays. So if your name is, for example, New Fish Big Pond, you might play small cap multi-baggers, which is basically going to give you small stocks that are experiencing high levels of volatility. In this case, well, I guess 10 million isn't that small. You can lower it, but you have filters, and you can play based on these filters. It tells you how to use the screener and what it does. So in this case, we're using less than 2 billion for small cap. Could be even smaller. You can align the filters. We have one for cash secured puts. Once if you want to play leaps. Michael uses this one to day trade, so he doesn't play 0 DTEs. He does 2x leveraged ETFs with trailing stops. So he'll go in here, open this up at like 9:45 in the morning when it refreshes, and he's going to take a look at what's bullish, and then he's going to go and play the 2x ETF equivalent for that stock. We have a momentum feedback one. Volatility squeeze, so things that are compressing and likely to explode. Basically, there's a bunch of them, so you can check them out and play with them. Some people find it useful, others don't, but we have something for everyone. Smart tools, we have a watch list that we will be expanding with functionality eventually. Right now, not too many people are using it, but the idea is to give the flows the activity and just allow you to add any ticker in here and eventually add alerts as well. So it'll trigger an alert if, for example, there's a large flow or something that may be of interest to you, and you'd be aware. Let's say, I don't know, if a $20 million flow hit SPY, you'd get an alert, and that would be your time to go look at the chart and maybe enter a position. So we have a watch list. We have a hedge fund tracker, so we track 32 funds. These are a couple of the names, and we track these on a daily basis. This will go download CSVs from the company site and check their positions. So there's been a lot of good use with this that we've seen from members. Basically, if the hedge funds are buying, probably so should you, and if the hedge funds are selling, well, that may be a sign going forward. So Hood has now been on this list for 3+ days, right? So Hood has exploded. We all know that. Tesla has been on the list. That exploded. Funny enough, TSM was a sell. Well, if you guys don't know, TSM just had earnings. And even though they crushed their earnings, it is now down. And that's a pretty fat candle. There's a lot of volume if I pull it up on this candle. So this may now potentially continue going down, fill the gap. So very interesting to kind of look at this and see what the big funds are buying, what they're selling, and if multiple funds are buying or selling a particular position. Right. All of that information is here. So we track these. We also have AI alerts. These aren't going to show because the market is closed, but these give you various market level alerts every 5 minutes when the market is on, just showing large flows and potential trade ideas. Again, I can't show this because right now the market is closed, so there's nothing to demo. We have a liquidity map, so people like this one a lot. This is basically just your visual representation of open interest and volume. So the big green bubbles show you where a lot of open interest and volume is. So you can pull up any ticker here and you're going to see where are people, reaching out and where is the concentration. So obviously with OPEX around the corner, everything's here is showing for tomorrow. Nothing in the future even compares to that, right? No crazy positions. 18,000 and it's so small. Like, what is this? 173,000 volume for tomorrow. That's crazy. 168,000 volume for tomorrow open interest. Right, so once OPEX expires, you can go here and you're going to see where people are positioning for the coming weeks without having to manually go and scroll through a fucking options chain. You can just see big bubble, position of interest, right, and play off of that. I know Terry played AB and Airbnb. Let me see if that's going to show anything. Okay, so Airbnb actually has some stuff, and we see some big bubbles. What is that? We have a put here. I guess that's big for Airbnb compared to the other ones. And then we have a call. More calls, more positioning. You guys get the point, right? Look at the bubbles instead of looking at an options chain, even though you can do that. And it gives you market depth and tradability. Basically, how good is the fill? How good is the bid ask? Is this stock liquid? Airbnb isn't that liquid. If I pulled something up like Nvidia, it's going to tell you that it's amazing because obviously it has millions of transactions. And then we have a CBOE option scanner. This is just Michael nerding out. He scans the CBOE chain every day and I don't know why, but he's interested in this. It basically tells you if it has added new stocks or removed stocks, and if it has added or removed ETFs and weekly equities. So whatever these two crap stocks are, apparently they got removed, or they got their options removed. I don't think anyone but him uses this, so just ignore this page. And then market intel, your typical stuff, earnings calendar, economics calendar, right? Politician trades, and insider activity. This one's pretty useful. I like to look at cluster buys and insider activity just to see where insiders are buying for potential stocks of interest. So, just quickly looking right now myself. I guess Nike's an interesting one for insider buys from Nike. I know a couple people brought that one up in a different Discord today. So yeah, that is it for now. I'm happy to take questions. There is also a very large pipeline for this project of expansion and more stuff we will be adding, including this weekend. This right here. This is the Trader Lady, and the Trader Lady is a trained AI bot that accesses all of the data you see on the site. And if you have no clue what you're doing or you just want to save time, you're going to go to her. And unfortunately, I need to code this so it can be bigger and also remove the Trader Lady plays. That's something we're testing. Basically, eventually she will be giving signals. So you're going to get AI generated signals that we are going to track the P&L of and improve over time so that in 6 months this thing is shooting out signals with 70% profitability. But for now, you can just ask her anything about the website and she is going to tell you. So I don't know, as an example, for tomorrow 04/17/2026, what is the best options play for NVIDIA? I hope this works because otherwise it's going to ruin my demo. Let's see. How did you access her? You don't have access yet, Terry. She will go live this weekend. I am, the admin of the website, so she's displaying for me, but no one else has access yet. I've just been kind of testing her. So she's telling me the current price of NVIDIA, which is good. She's telling me it is OPEX week, which is good. It is 1 DTE, which is not good, and she's telling me I'm more likely to go, it's better if I go for May 15th play. For tomorrow, there's not a large expected move. So tomorrow it's saying we will probably sit between $196 and $200 on NVIDIA. And it's telling me, again, short DTE, high IV, blah, blah, blah. Buying options is very risky. I don't recommend, theta decay. It gives us the max pain, the call wall, which is 200, which could act as resistance, right? A bunch of really, really good information. And then it's saying if you are bullish, you could actually play a call credit spread, selling above the 200 call wall. And if you're bearish, you could play a put credit spread. Again, she's saying, be cautious, blah, 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 and then asks more questions, which if I answer, she will go and pull up the options chain for me and give me some recommendations. She's not perfect because she has not been released to the public. It's just been me questioning her and trying to improve her. But eventually, once we have more data, she'll get improved more. I think it's pretty badass for what she does give so far. So, yeah. Can she search SPX and let us know which sector is bringing it down at that time or ticker? I actually don't know if she can search SPX because we don't even have SPX on the site. Or at least I don't think we do. Let me check. I'm curious now. Yeah, we don't have SPX. I wonder. I'll paste her question. She's going to fail at it, but I want to see what she goes and answers. Yes, I know SPX is SPY. She gives me the sectors that were up and down for today. Okay, so let me rephrase the question. And instead of SPX, let me just put SPY because she knows that. And so I'm going to tell her search SPY and let us know which sector is bringing it down. And here you go. There's your answer. So today's session, April 16th, 2026, the sectors that were pulling down the broader market would include XLV, XLI, XLY, blah, 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 blah. And key takeaway, here you go. So yes, it tells you what was pulling down today. So work in progress, will be live this weekend, and as we get more data, she'll be improved. Basically, we're just going to outdo everyone. And a bunch of these sites, Cheddarflow and Usual Whales, they're all flows. We're going to build out some really, really cool shit that none of them have, and we're just going to be better. It's going to take time. I'm going to share something else that I saw today here. Let me drag my Discord. I was messaging people, and I saw this, and I was like, we are so going to copy this. So something else that I want to implement is a dashboard like this. Should I be trading? Market quality terminal. Basically, a lot of beginners have no clue. Is it a choppy day? Is it OPEX? Is there CPI coming out? How's the volatility? How's the VIX, right? Like, if you're an experienced trader, you just know how many components there are that you need to look at a daily basis. And imagine having an aggregated dashboard that tells you, right? So SPX versus the 20-day average, 50-day average, 10-year yield, DXY, the dollar, whatever. Like, things like this is what we're going for, just to have as much information for people as possible, so that you can use the site in so many different ways and still make money. Government releases. What do you mean, Terry? What about government releases? Powell going live. Yeah, but technically we can put something like that in there as well. Like, yeah, Fed members going live. That dashboard's not even started development. That's just a mock-up that I stole from somebody I saw on X, and I was like, we can so do this. That's such a great idea. But yeah, that's just an example of something we want to add in the future. More screeners, suggestions from our members, so on and so forth. All right, questions, guys? Did my best to try to cover everything here. You guys don't need to type in the chat. I think you can just open mic and talk. Let me quickly stop.